So, I present a lot at conferences, and there are three key ingredients to a successful conference. The one is awesome energy, the second one is valuable content, and the third one is to have a lot of fun. So my wife knows this, and when she realized I was coming to Singapore to present this keynote, she was like, how long are you going for? I said, I'm going to present for 20 minutes. She said, so you're going to fly over 40 hours to present for 20 minutes. And she said, how is that going to contribute to awesome energy? And I said, hold my beer. Because today we're going to be talking about some really exciting content that's going to boost our energy, not just in this room, but when we go back to our workplace and help drive talent transformation within our organizations. And that's really what this topic is about today. It's around providing you with actionable insight to drive talent priorities within your business. So organizations today are embracing digitalization. We understand it, we've heard that. At the same time, we're increasing workforce diversity, leadership in women, and ensuring that we've got talent development throughout the organization in all aspects of employment. The third one is that organizations are developing changes and innovative changes to their business models to outsmart and beat out their competitors. We heard about business sustainability becoming an issue today, where nearly a year ago, nearly 30% of the Fortune 500 companies dropped off their list. And were displaced by others. So innovative changes, outsmarting your competitors, critical. At the same time, we heard about new technologies, automation, all these things upending the traditional ways of doing business, and digitalization stepping into the room. We're going to transform our companies. Well, transforming the company is absolutely correct and provides and excites the organization. But it also, at the same time, energizes the employees. And we're going to talk about how we can harvest that energy and apply it within our organizations. The last bullet there, which is competition for critical skills, are heating up. In order to digitally transform yourself, you need to be able to leverage technology at its full potential. And to me, the simple definition of digital transformation is the ability to leverage people's potential to match the potential of technology. So if you can get your people to be digitally skilled, to be able to leverage technology at full potential, you can transform your business. Think of the companies that have done it. Amazon, Netflix, Uber. They've leveraged technology to its full potential. Those are the companies that are up and coming today, who are displacing the traditional companies that used to be on top of the world. Now, I've been in this industry for over 20 plus years, and the one thing in HR, because this is why we're here today, is I'm going to connect these topics for you in the context of HR. I'm not going to pontificate about what these things are and represent. I'm going to bring it back home to HR for us. Now, for the longest time, we've heard vendors tell us, analysts explain to us, that people development is the #1 priority. For many different years, we've heard that. First, there was HR and payroll systems, then there was talent management, then it became people management, and now it's become team management. But the world has actually now, finally, the executives have accepted this as a key priority to the business. In context of sustaining the business, they recognize that talent is required to build a sustainable business. In fact, they recognize it so much so that CEOs today are talking more about this topic than ever before. For good reason, because they see tremendous growth in the business when they do. In fact, they speak so much about it that they nearly spend 10% of their earnings call time on people development. So if you understand how precious an earnings call is for companies, for them to spend 10% of their time, or 7% in this instance to be more accurate, on talent development means that they truly believe that not only them, but the public wants to know what's happening with talent in their business to help them sustain it. So it is mainstream. Now, I'm going to share with you 3 core takeaways on what we are seeing CHROs today, or talent leaders today, are executing on to ensure that their organization, their culture, their development pipeline, and the productivity of their people support their goals and their outcomes. The first one is when we look at how talent leaders today are applying digital technology, most of them apply it to improve HR operations and services. They're also improving it to enhance the employee experience. And lastly, they're applying it to increase employee productivity. Quick raise of hands. From 1970 through today, do you think that technology has advanced tremendously from 1970? Show of hands, right? Everyone would say that. So technology has advanced tremendously, and Moore's law would tell you that every 18 to 26 months, technology's throughput, output, performance would double. And it's been pretty accurate over the years. It's been tremendous how technology has helped us. Smartphones, worker productivity tools. Here comes the zinger. The average growth rate, average productivity growth rate from 1970 through today, on average. Remember, technology went through the roof. What do you think that average technology productivity has been? You think it has followed technology? Well, it's actually been flat, about 1.7%. So people are not taking advantage of technology. The companies that do are those that climb the leaderboard. So all CEOs and talent leaders are now focused on getting their people to leverage these technologies. So I'm going to give you 3 examples of how these companies are doing it that is slightly different from the norm, because these are the kinds of initiatives that you can execute within your organizations to drive better talent development within your organizations. The first one is improving HR operations and services. There are 2 points there. We just spoke about how talent and ability to get critical skills are heating up. Finding talent is extremely difficult. Finding good quality talent is extremely difficult today, because companies are snapping up these people very quickly. So what smart companies are doing, the best top performing companies are doing, is they are extending their reach to acquire this talent. They're extending their recruiting arms to go and grab these folks, whether it's in colleges. My daughter is 16 years old. She just got a letter from a company to say, if you're interested in an internship once you graduate, please keep us in mind. What? I was like, what is this? So today they're reaching up, they're snapping up teenagers. I'm going to share some stats with you as to how frightening that landscape is in a bit. The second thing is brand, company brand and culture. We heard it before. culture eats strategy for breakfast. Well, how important is culture and brand, and why is it important today? Well, if I'm spending the time to get people to come into my business, if I want to attract those people into my business, I'm advertising, I'm creating a beautiful brand out there to try and draw these people into our organization. How unfortunate would it be if there's this anonymous posting going on these websites like Glassdoor, where employees could go in and fill out what they think about the company, irrespective of the external brand. You can have people who work for the company anonymously go in and say, I approve or I don't approve of the CEO. They develop and recognize my talent or they don't. They give me a career advancement opportunity or they don't. If those things are all negative and your CEO's approval is 35% and there's no development potential for you at this company, and you've got 3 choices of companies you want to do where the others look much better, you're not going to look at this. So what top talent leaders are doing is they're saying, look, we've got to focus on these external social networks and ensure that our brand is representative, not only of our marketing that we're doing outbound, but it's representative of our culture, and that those values are represented through these different sources. Because employers are no longer in control of employment like they used to be. Employees today are in much better control of their employment than ever before. So if companies want to draw these talents into their organization, they have to focus on these things to ensure that that recruitment pipeline points towards them. The second thing when we talk about enhancing the employee experience, we're seeing a large focus on organizations delivering micro-learning strategies and developing those micro-learning strategies for their companies. Why? Because if I want to digitally skill my employees, but they only have 20 minutes in a work week to develop themselves, how do I do that? I can't assign them to go and sit in an hour-long instructor-led training course or take an hour-long curriculum of learning. No. I've got to give them these learning sparks, these things that are in context of their job, to ensure that they have meaningful development or knowledge acceleration. So micro-learning is key. The second thing is we've got to create an environment where it feels for the people like they're learning from each other, like they're talking to each other in a language that they understand, don't feel threatened by, but can essentially open up and learn from. Now, traditional ways was we used to have people next to us at our desks that we could speak to, that we could communicate with, that we became friends with, that we could have a dialogue with that wasn't threatening in nature or exposing a weakness that I may have. And people learned magnitudes more from people that were right next to them than they did just 30 feet away. So today, what we've got to look at are technologies that afford us the opportunity to work together as teams, and crowdsourcing and video-based, uploads and of your videos that you take on your development and sharing that with the team is going to become a lot more important and critical than going to the traditional companies that may be creating that content. So crowdsourced content is what top-performing organizations are looking for. Why? Because number one, you rely on these people to serve your customers. They are subject matter experts, and you can recognize them for their contributions to your business and growth, and they feel valued for doing so. Do you know that only 21% of people out there feel they get the pat on the back they deserve in terms of recognition? Yeah? That leaves 79% of people feeling, I don't think I just got recognized for that. So these tools all help the organization better develop their people, have their people feel more valued, and in turn creates those branded kind of communication that goes to these external social networks, creates a better image for the company. And you start developing a culture of recognition and inclusion and all the things that are important. The last one is that we are seeing productivity becoming critical. A year ago, people spoke about engagement, right? Are your employees engaged? Well, you used to have 4 levels of engagement. They probably still exist, but they were the actively engaged. These are people who break the door down when they come into the workplace, ready to get to their desk or open up the emails in the morning and get things done. Then you used to get the engaged, I'm coming to work down my checklist. Then you used to get the disengaged, which are the people who come to work to collect the paycheck. And then you get the actively disengaged, which tell everybody else only to come to work to collect the paycheck. So we all want to be engaged people, actively engaged people. And what we're finding is that that's now become, we want actively productive people, because just being engaged wasn't enough to add that productivity. So what companies are doing is they're embedding work analytics into the workflows to help better understand how people are working and better guide them to the next step of their development workflows, so that they can become more productive by becoming better skilled individuals. And the last one is we talk about automation in the workplace. Well, there's a lot of stats out there about what automation is going to do. I will tell you this. Yeah, we're looking to automate 14% of the average occupation by 2020, which is only, by the way, next year. 14% of the average jobs out there are going to be automated. But the issue is they can't automate 100% of the job. You've got the head part, which is the brain part. You've got the hand part, which is the robotic part, an automation part, but you don't have the hard part, which is the empathy. So if you can't automate 100% of the work, what do you do with the percentages that you cannot automate and the people that still need to do that? Well, you're going to re-educate them, you're going to re-skill them, you're going to upskill them. And this is just the beginning, folks. Here are 7 trends that we are seeing happening. We talk about cultures, everything. I just spoke about upskilling the individuals. We're going to shut down unconscious bias. This is what top-performing companies do. They no longer rely on the objective view of somebody coming in, having a great interview and saying, that's the person for the job. Where, if they just look more holistically at the data available, they may have seen that that wasn't really the person of the job, because they could have a great interview. There was somebody there who was much better for the job. Maybe didn't have a great dialogue in the interview, but their credentials, work experience, project experience, fit for this role is much better. So technologies can now be applied to kind of look through that data and help make better decisions and eliminating what's the unconscious bias. We spoke about diversity. Technology is being viewed as the way forward. Intuitive, beautiful technology is going to be applied to solve the challenges. HR is going to be viewed as the new productivity department. CHROs are now just longer looked at as HR leaders. They are looked as business leaders. They're going to drive this next generation of transformation in the organizations. And look at that, 72.8 million Gen Zs on the horizon who want to enter into the workplace. They're going to want to find your company with your brand represented at the top, or they're going to join someone else. Where do we begin? I've got a 0 showing in my face there, and I know I'm going to be quick, but where do we begin? That's a question I get all the time. I'm responsible for strategy and transformation at SumTotal, and we're by booth 5, by the way. If you have questions, I can talk to you later. But the point is, I often get the question, where do we begin? So we've developed an organizational maturity index, which guides you through 5 steps of maturity. can help you where you are today, meet you where you're at. And I'm going to give you the resource name. But essentially what we do is we measure these 9 different indicators and can help you see where you're at and where you need to go. And there's the website for free you can go to right now, assess.skillsoft.com. You can leverage that website. It's a tool and a diagnostic tool that would evaluate where you are and your maturity and move you forward. I want to thank you for your time today. I hope we brought the awesome energy. Have fun. Singapore's a beautiful place. Thank you for having me. TechHR.